My topic for my address today is achieving societal progress through the knowledge of sustainability and wellness. Sustainable development is economic development that is conducted without the depletion of natural resources. So, what is the connection between progress and the knowledge of sustainability and wellness? So I think first of all, we need to look at ways how sustainability can be achieved in society. The first step would be to raise public awareness, which is rather obvious. The second one or step is to promote education. The third step is to increase government and business investment. The fourth, conserve resources and eliminate waste. The fifth one, re-evaluate values. The United Nations has identified the most pressing issues facing our world today. In September 2015, at a historic UN summit, the Coalition of World Leaders outlined 17 sustainable development goals, which took effect on January 1st, 2016, with the goal of being accomplished by 2030. The aim of these new goals is to call on all countries to mobilize efforts to end all forms of poverty, fight inequalities, and tackle climate change while ensuring no one is left behind. Now, if we look at these goals, these are goals that affect every one of us, no matter which country we belong to, because we belong to the global family at large. So hence, whatever happens in any part of the world, we definitely do have a responsibility of responding with, or rather, with the intention of making sure that we do something about it so that a problem can be resolved. Now, these 17 sustainable development goals that I just mentioned, the first one is no poverty. Yes, predominantly, I think poverty today is a fundamental barrier for progress in many, many parts of the world. Because along with poverty, you have several other issues that come along, including gender inequalities. You find illiteracy and the problems that are born out of illiteracy and lack of education. Zero hunger is another developmental goal, which is part of the list. The third one, good health and well-being. Now, good health and well-being, they always go simultaneously together. Because the moment you are healthy, you are a lot more aware about how you need to maintain your health and well-being. The fourth one is about how much of care are we taking about the land that we are living on, life on land. And the next one is quality education. The more we are aware about the need for every member of our global family to be educated, the more we will be aware about the responsibility each of us have towards the other. Gender equality in many parts of the world, yes, we still have tremendous issues to overcome so that each gender or every gender gets the respect and the opportunities they deserve. The next one is clean water and sanitary conditions. The next one, affordable and clean energy. And of course, industry, innovation and infrastructure, which is required for a country to exist, and not just exist, but also survive well and thrive. So we also need to focus on inequalities, the reduction of inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, the life below water. What are the ways we are protecting the life that is thriving underwater? Are we giving enough attention to that? Peace, justice, and of course, the partnerships required for the goals as well. The more we are conscious about the responsibility we all have towards making sure that every life on this planet is able to live well, the more we will be aware about the collaboration that is required for us to live happily as a global family. Now, if we are to also consider the three things needed to be considered to achieve sustainability, the first one would be economic viability. The second one, environmental protection. The third one, social equity. So let's look at the 5 steps to improve personal well-being, societal cohesion, and greater cooperation within ourselves for our future. The first one would be to increase support to mental health. The next one is cooperation for facing the many global challenges in our life. We need to move to the next level of cooperation to face the many challenges the world faces today. The next one, that is the third one, is caring economies. So, how do we achieve sustainable development goals from an individual perspective? What can we do? The first step would be to get educated. The second step that will help us achieve sustainable development goals as an individual is to change the existing mindset. Educating others. Now, educating others is very critical. And I have to admit that it comes after you get yourself educated. Enable people or people who are less fortunate to get onto the pathway of education. So traveling and seeing the world with attention, followed by living conscientiously. How are you currently leading your life? Are you leading a life of discipline? Do you have a pattern to your day? Do you have schedules? Do you manage your time as effectively as possible? Do you give importance to your self-care as much as you do to your professional growth? Now, these are all questions that I would like all of you to please think about, because these are very critical questions for which you need to have very, very clear answers so that you can move towards achieving these goals in your life. The next one is identifying the efforts to address environmental problems that can also provide health benefits. Thinking about environmental problems from your own life perspective can give us an initiative to look a little more deeper on how we can resolve some of the problems that we see. And of course, look at how we can positively impact the community that we are a part of. How do we do that? The first step is start being healthy at work. The next one is volunteer at a local social service platform or center. The next one is also encouraging carpooling, as I mentioned earlier, and use of public transport instead of probably driving your own car. And of course, pursuing a public health career. So what do we do to achieve these sustainable goals? When we consider what are we needing to do, we will need to think about using our voice and active engagement. Now, when we look at Instagram and social media, we find there are various opportunities for us to talk about subjects that are very, very relevant to us and our lives. And how do we talk about it? We make sure that our voice is heard and we actively engage and to petition policymakers and private industries to prioritize addressing social concerns, societal concerns, such as poverty. And of course, to fight hunger, we need to also make changes in our own home and life. How do we do that? That is, purchasing food that you are certain that you would eat. How often are we actually guilty of wasting food? I would like each of you to think about that. Are we conscious about it? Please think about preparing a meal plan for your daily food habits so that you can reduce wastage. The third one is to support local farmers and markets, because you're enabling your society to become wealthier and more successful when you support your local society. And of course, make sustainable, nutritious food choices. Are you someone who prefers to quickly grab a cookie and a coffee for lunch because you don't find time? If you do, it's probably time for you to think a little more about what you can do to ensure that you eat better so that you can stay healthier and you can also contribute better to the world that we are part of. Explore the realities of the global goals and what they mean for community and country. Give our time and skills. And as I mentioned earlier, mentoring is a great form of voluntary service that you can do. And teaching the 3 R's in schools. So those of you who are teachers, I would like you to focus a little more on teaching children about the 3 R's. And what are they? Reducing waste, reusing resources, and of course, recycling materials. I would also like to convey this point that sustainable happiness is happiness that contributes to individual, community, or global well-being without exploiting other people, the environment, or future generations. And I think the more we are conscious about this fact, the more we are going to be conscious about our well-being and the well-being for others. Because I believe happiness is definitely a connection that we have with others as well. Hence, the well-being of others is definitely a subject of importance to us. So happy feelings are evidence of happiness, which is a combination of enjoyment, satisfaction, and purpose. I would like to take this opportunity to wish each of you all the very best for an excellent, vibrant, and successful personal and professional future. Wishing you all the very best.